There's a quiet sentence many people live inside. I'll do it tomorrow. It sounds harmless, almost responsible, not dramatic at all. And yet, for some people, that sentence slowly becomes a place where dreams wait, where intentions sit untouched, where life feels paused, but time keeps moving anyway. If you've ever said it and felt a strange mix of relief and guilt at the same time, this is for you. People who always say, I will do it tomorrow, are rarely lazy. That's the misunderstanding that hurts the most. They often care deeply. They think deeply. They imagine deeply. They see what could be done, what should be done, what might be done. And that awareness, instead of pushing them forward, quietly weighs them down. At first, postponing feels like kindness to the self. Not now. Later, when I'm calmer, when I'm more ready, when life makes more sense. Tomorrow feels safer than today, because tomorrow doesn't demand courage yet.
Tomorrow doesn't judge. Tomorrow doesn't expose unfinished parts of you. Tomorrow gives you the illusion of control without the pain of action. Psychologically, this habit often forms in people who learned early that effort didn't always lead to safety. They may have tried before, tried sincerely, tried with hope. And somewhere along the way, effort met disappointment, criticism, or emotional cost. So the mind learned a quiet rule. Delay protects. When you say tomorrow, you are not rejecting the task. You are protecting yourself from the feelings attached to it. Fear of failing, fear of being seen, fear of discovering your limits, fear that even after trying, the emptiness might still be there. There is also perfection hiding inside procrastination, not the loud, confident kind, but the fragile kind, the kind that says, if I can't do it properly, I shouldn't do it at all. So you wait for the perfect mood, the perfect energy, the perfect version of yourself. And slowly, days become evidence that you are not ready yet, reinforcing the belief that readiness is something that arrives from outside. Emotionally, people who live in tomorrow often experience a quiet loneliness. Not because they are alone, but because they are constantly separated from their own potential. They see who they could be, and they live as who they currently are, and the distance between those two selves becomes painful to look at directly, so they look away, just for today. There is also disappointment, but it's subtle. Not the kind that explodes, the kind that settles in the chest at night, when the world is quiet and you realize another day passed without movement. You promise yourself you'll do better tomorrow, and for a moment, that promise soothes the ache. Over time, this cycle creates an inner conflict. One part of you wants growth. Another part wants safety. One whispers, we can do this. The other replies, not yet. And neither side feels wrong, which makes the conflict even harder to resolve. What many don't realize is that chronic postponement is not about time management. It's about emotional regulation, about how you handle discomfort, uncertainty, and self-trust. Action requires you to tolerate not knowing the outcome. And for some people, uncertainty feels more threatening than stagnation. There's often a silent realization that comes with age or exhaustion. A moment when you notice that tomorrow keeps moving, that the future you are waiting for is quietly becoming the past. And the scariest part isn't regret. It's the fear that you may be betraying yourself in small, invisible ways. Growth doesn't usually begin with sudden discipline. It begins with honesty, with admitting that delay has been serving you and costing you at the same time, with recognizing that action doesn't require confidence first. Confidence often comes after action, not before. Emotionally mature change is gentle. It doesn't shout at you to fix your life. It asks softer questions. What am I afraid will happen if I start? What part of me feels unsafe right now?
What would a smaller, imperfect step look like?
People who stop living in tomorrow don't suddenly become fearless. They become more accepting of discomfort. They allow themselves to act while unsure. They stop waiting to feel ready and start trusting that readiness can be built. And sometimes, the deepest shift is realizing this. You don't owe the world perfection. You owe yourself presence. If you've lived with, "I will do it tomorrow," be kind to yourself. That sentence was never about laziness. It was about survival.
But survival doesn't have to be permanent. At some point, gently, quietly, you are allowed to choose today. If this felt familiar, if something in it stayed with you a little longer than expected, take a quiet moment and support the work. Like the video if it resonated. Share it with someone who lives inside their thoughts the way you do. And subscribe if you want more reflections like this. Slow, honest, and human. Thank you.